Hi, I'm Amy Romeo and welcome to my Seaside Vibes crafting event where I'm sharing a brand new faux leather summer craft for your Cricut every day for 10 days. Today's project is this really cute crab card wallet. The wallet itself is made of faux leather, and then we're going to apply some heat transfer vinyl on top to create the cute little crab. Then we'll use a Kam Snap to create the closure. I have the SVG file for this project in my shop. If you'd like to craft along with me, I'll leave a link to it for you. So I'll be making this project using my Cricut Maker. You can use any of the Maker machines, the Explore machines, or even the Cricut Joy Xtra. This project is a little too large for the Cricut Joy. So the faux leather that I'm using a printed crab pattern, which is really fun, and I'll leave links to all of these materials for you. There's kind of a pinstripe in the back, which is really cute and coastal for summer. You could also use something like a light blue solid, maybe with a neutral pattern like this, a little check or some stripes. Of course, you can use a solid as well. Then the crab is going to be made up of 4 colors of heat transfer vinyl. So we need some white and black for the eyes. And then the little crab itself, the arms and the little body, I'm going to use this regular Caesar Easy Weed. And then the main body part, I'm going to make from glitter. So you get some fun contrast between those 2 different types of heat transfer vinyl. So we'll cut the faux leather on the purple strong grip mat, and I'll cut my heat transfer vinyl on the green standard grip mat. To press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather, I'll use my Cricut Easy Press Mini, which is great for pressing small projects like this, but you could also use a regular Easy Press if that's what you have. I'll also use a heat pressing pad and a cover sheet. This is a Teflon sheet that I've trimmed smaller, but you could use butcher paper or parchment paper. Some other tools you'll want to have on hand, some blue painter's tape. I'll show you why we need that. Some small curved scissors for trimming areas, and something like a pin pen or a weeding tool for your heat transfer vinyl. Finally, the Kam Snaps that we'll be using, we're using size 20s, but they're called size 20 extra long because one part of this project needs to have the snap go through 3 layers of faux leather, and for that we need extra long size 20 Kam Snaps. Again, I'll have a link to that for you, and then you'll also need some Kam Snap pliers. So let's go ahead and hop into Design Space and get started. Starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG file for this project is saved on your device. Click on it to select it and then click Open. You'll see a preview of the crab card wallet. Click Continue and then Upload. So you can see there are 5 layers to this project here. Let me go ahead and show you there's 5 different layers. I'm going to ungroup them for a moment just so that you can see the different layers. You don't need to ungroup them though. So here is the faux leather shape for the wallet, and then the little crab body has those 4 layers. So this one I'll cut from the solid red, this part I'll cut from glitter red, and then we have our 2 little shapes that make up the eyes. So here on the faux leather layer, the holes that you see here on the flaps, these 3 holes and this hole, those are all for the Kam Snaps, and it's important that we keep those. However, I added some little holes here in case you wanted to thread a jump ring through here and either attach your little card wallet to a keychain, or even if you just wanted to have a jump ring here and attach a charm or a tassel, you could do that. Now, if you don't want to cut these 2 little holes, you can hide them using the contour feature. So I'll show you very quickly how to do that. With your faux leather layer selected, click Contour, and then you can see all these dark spots are the little holes that are going to cut. So if you just click on a hole, it's going to fade out. See how now it's light colored? You can go ahead and click on those 2 holes, and then if you click the X, then those little holes will disappear. So I'm not going to cut the little wallet with those holes today, so I'll leave them hidden, but I did want to mention that that's what those are there for. Okay, so we don't need to change the size of this at all. In fact, I don't recommend changing the size because then your little cards won't fit inside. So we'll go ahead and click the Make It button. We're cutting our material on a mat. So the first thing you'll want to do is go through and toggle that mirror button on for each mat. And that's because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. And then what I like to do is go through all my mats again and move my shapes away from the edges a little bit, away from the top edge and the side edge. That's going to help us when we're cutting our faux leather and our heat transfer vinyl. So here you can also use this opportunity to see if you can use any scraps for your project. So for example, if I drag my little crab away from the edges, I can see that if I have a piece of faux leather that's about 4 inches wide and about 4 inches or 3.5 inches tall, I can use it to cut out this shape, which is great. Now for your faux leather mat, you'll want to pay attention to make sure that your faux leather shape is going to fit on the faux leather that you're using. So the faux leather I'm using is 9 inches wide by 12 inches tall. So I know mine will fit even when I pull it away from the edges just a little, but you might need to use your arrow here and rotate your shape. Just keep in mind if you're using a printed or patterned faux leather, rotating your shape might change how your print looks on your finished project. So after I've gone through and optimized the placement on all of my mats, I'm going to click back on the faux leather mat. I always like to cut my faux leather mat first, then click continue. The cut setting that I recommend using is called Faux Leather Paper Thin. Don't worry about the word paper thin, it's just what Cricut calls the faux leather cut setting. If you don't have it bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. Keep in mind, if you're using the Explore Air 2 machine, you'll need to turn your dial to Custom before you can search for and find this setting. So Faux Leather Paper Thin, I always use more pressure. That's going to help us get a better cut. And here's the reminder that we're just using the regular fine point blade that comes with all of the current Cricut machines. Now for your heat transfer vinyl mats, you'll cut those according to the manufacturer's recommended cut setting for your type and brand of vinyl. Okay, so let's hop back over to my overhead camera. We will get our mats cut out. We'll heat press our heat transfer vinyl layers onto the faux leather, and then I'll show you how to finish off the wallet by assembling the Kam Snaps. So I've got my purple strong grip mat and my faux leather piece, and before I flip this over, I just want to show you this is an all over print where the little crabs go in all the different directions. But if you're using a print that has a direction, like if it's a shape that faces up, then I would flip it over first and just sort of mentally see how your pattern is going to look. The little card wallet, the top folds over and the bottom folds up. So you'll get a sense of how your pattern is going to lay out just by folding it like this. If your pattern is upside down, then you can flip it over and try it the other way. So just make sure you're happy with how your pattern looks before you cut this. But as I said, this is an all over print, so it doesn't matter. All I'm going to do is place this down on my purple strong grip mat, right in that spot I saw on the mat preview screen. I'm going to press this down all over with my fingers, and then I'm going to use some blue painter's tape and tape this down on all sides. And this is going to help keep our faux leather from moving while we're cutting it. It's going to help us get a good cut. Now these pieces of blue painter's tape can be reused several times, like I'm doing with these pieces. You can just peel them up off your mat after your cut and store them somewhere to reuse them. Okay, so we have our faux leather paper thin cut setting with more pressure ready to go. So I'll just load my mat into the machine and begin the cut. So the cut has run one time, and I recommend not unloading your mat yet. First, use a sharp weeding tool and just lift up the edge of your faux leather to see if your cut went all the way through. This one looks really good, but if your cut does not look like it went all the way through, no worries, just go ahead and press that cut button again. That will pull the mat back in and rerun the cut in the exact same spot. And you can do that as many times as you need to. So every time your mat is finished, don't unload it, just lift up the edge, take a little peek, and then unload the mat when it's good to go. So this one looks good. I'm going to unload my mat, and I'll remove my shape. And I'll show you quickly how this is going to go together. So our little sides are going to go in, the top is going to go up, and then the bottom is going to come down, and this is where our cute little crab is going to be. So you'll see here on the inside, it might be a little hard to see, but you'll want to find those spots that you need to poke out. Those are those little holes for the Kam Snaps. Now if your hole doesn't poke out all the way, don't worry, that's why we use our little curved scissors just to trim off the edge. So just take a moment and poke out all of your little holes. Once all of those little holes are trimmed, you can set this aside. Now I'm going to get my green standard grip mat. And then I'm going to return to Design Space and cut out all of my heat transfer vinyl mats. So I won't bore you with doing that. I'll just go ahead and cut out all the mats and weed away the excess heat transfer vinyl, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to press them and then attach those Kam Snaps. So I've finished cutting all of my heat transfer vinyl mats and I've weeded away the excess. Remember, when you're weeding away the two red shapes, to also weed away the little circle hole in both of those, and that's going to help you line up your heat transfer vinyl layers on your faux leather card wallet. Okay, so I have my little heat pressing pad ready to go. I have my Easy Press Mini on the low setting, which is that first green line. If you're using a larger heat press, you can totally do that. I would set it to about 265 degrees. Okay, so I have my little card wallet here with the crab leg shape down, and all I'm going to do is take my heat transfer vinyl layer, this red layer, and I'm going to line up that little pre-cut hole there, and I'm going to line up the legs so that they have a nice even border all around on both sides. Can you see that? That little border that goes around? The hole is lined up, and that means this is on the right spot. So I'm just going to cover. So again, this is a Teflon sheet. They don't come this small, but they come really big for t-shirts, and I just cut them up with scissors. It helps me when I'm pressing little small things. But if you have a big piece, a big Teflon sheet, that's fine, or some butcher paper or parchment paper will work. You do need a cover sheet of some kind. So with my Easy Press Mini all set, I'm just going to press for about 7 to 10 seconds all over. I am moving this around, but if you're using a larger heat press, you'll just set it down. Just make sure that your Teflon sheet covers all of your faux leather if you're using a larger heat press. So now what we want to do is very slowly start to peel the cover sheet. If when you're peeling you see your vinyl lifting up, just place your cover sheet right back down, cover and press some more in about 5 to 7 second increments. But this looks pretty good. There we go. Now I'm going to place my little sort of accent the body layer. And again, I'm lining up this layer with that center hole first. And then I'm just making sure that the outside edges of the crab body line up with the outside edges of the layer underneath. See how the two different colors of red really make it look cute and fun? So again, I'm just going to cover and press. Again, I'm going to slowly peel. And that looks really cute. So now we'll take the white layer of the eyes and we're just going to line up these little circles with the circles in the red layer below. Like that. Cover and press. And then finally, the little black part of the eyes, we're just going to center those. Now you could give your little crab here some character. You could put the eyes at the bottom. You could put the eyes in the middle. I actually think I'm going to put the eyes in the bottom just a little. Give him his little face a little personality. And that's that. Isn't that cute? So this is warm. So what I want to do is have it cool nice and flat. Warm faux leather will start to curl as it cools, and we don't want that. So I'm going to place this underneath my heat pressing pad and just let it cool for about a minute, and then we will come back and we will apply our Kam Snaps and finish up the card wallet. So our little heat transfer vinyl layer has cooled nice and flat, and now it's time to assemble the Kam Snaps. So for this project we need size 20 extra long Kam Snaps. Those are different than this box. This box is size 20, but they're not extra long. We need an extra long post for this project because this bottom layer goes through 3 layers of faux leather, so we need that longer length in the post. So you can get size 20 extra longs on Amazon in a limited selection of colors. They usually have red, so I'll link to that for you, or you can get them on the Kam Snap website. And then in this little package you have lots of different little pieces, and the little pieces correspond to this diagram And I'll leave a copy of this in the download folder for you. But what you want to do is go through your little bag and you'll want to find these 4 pieces: a cap, a stud, which has little bumps, a socket, which has sort of a U-shape opening, and then another cap. So I've already gone through my bag here and pulled out those 4 pieces. You'll also want to have 2 pieces of blue painter's tape that you can use. Then we're just going to flip our little wallet over, choose either one of the sides. I'm going to use the left one because I'm left-handed. I'm going to take my little cap and I'm going to poke it from the inside of the wallet here, facing out like that. And then I'm just going to fold the other flap, doesn't matter which side, over onto that same post. Again, this is our extra long Kam Snap. And then we're going to take the bottom and flip that up. And again, find that little post. Now what you want to do is get your little edges here. Get them all nice and neat. You don't want any big gaps or any weird openings. You just want it to be nice and neat like that. And then we're going to hold this in place and then just use some blue painter's tape and tape that down so that it will stay in position when we're snapping. Now what you might want to do after you snap this is come in here in this little flap and apply some glue, and that'll help keep this whole edge closed. So we've got our cap on the inside, and then on the outside we're going to put our socket. So the socket is the piece that has that little opening. You'll put the socket on top of the post, and then I'm kind of holding it with my fingers here, both sides, so the cap is on the inside, the socket is on the outside. And then using the Kam Snap pliers, the black piece always covers the cap. So you're going to line that up over the cap, and when it sits on the cap, then you won't be able to see any of the cap outside of the black piece. And then this white piece will line up over whatever's on the other side here, the socket or the stud. And then all we need to do is squeeze, 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 squeeze as hard as you can to get that to close up. Now you can remove your tape. And as I mentioned, you can glue this if you'd like, just to glue up these little flaps. And then we're going to just apply our last little part of the Kam Snap here. So on the outside on the crab body, I'm going to put a red cap so that it matches. And then on the inside, we'll have the stud. So the stud has little bumps on the back. The bumps go down. And again, we will repeat with using the black piece to cover the cap completely. When you cover the cap completely, let me get that lined up right. I can't see the cap. And then this part is perfectly lined up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And that's that. So here's our little crab card wallet. Isn't that cute? Now, if you like this project and you wanted to see a matching little purse, I've got this cute little crab purse. It's part of the VIP pass for my Seaside Vibes crafting event. I'll leave a link to that for you. And if you like the idea of this little wallet, I've also created a seashell version and a matching seashell purse. These are really cute. And again, these are in the VIP pass for this event. So be sure to check out that link if you like this project. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.